Chapter 51, The Weapon That Couldn't Be Hidden. When Yishu heard Tangru yell again, he didn't waver in the slightest. He only steadily gripped his mouse and was ready to kill and behead the girl again. However, after he heard the yell this time, he didn't enter the stage. Yishu stood up and saw Tangru's shriveled up empty purse. Finally no money? Yishu laughed. This guy was waiting until I emptied my purse before stopping? Tangru slowly stood up. Wait for me to get more. Sis Tang, forget about it. The surrounding people that knew her all tried to persuade her. Little Tang, Chen Guo also went over to block her. With this girl's competitiveness, Chen Guo didn't doubt that she would try until she went bankrupt. The most loathsome part was that Yishu, after winning, he didn't even try to give her a way out of this embarrassing situation. In the end, she heard Yishu say, forget about it. This type of recklessness isn't fun. Still mocking her, Chen Guo was furious. She turned around and right when she was about to say something, she heard Yishu follow, you should learn it properly first. You should at least figure out how large the gap between me and you is. You can't win in glory with just hand speed. If you want to fight with me, there will be plenty of chances later. Chen Guo was startled. This was actually sensible and reasonable. This guy finally said some real people talk. But at this moment, how could the ignited Tangru pay attention to this? Tangru's footsteps had already stopped and she stood there lost in thought. The surrounding crowd went silent. All of them seemed like they were waiting for some great conclusion. Chen Guo suddenly saw something move from the corner of her eye. She turned her head to look. It was Yishu giving her a meaningful look and gesturing at her. This shameful guy actually wanted her to hand him the money. Chen Guo was angry, but she knew that with Tangru's temperament she definitely wouldn't let him return the money. Now at this moment, she ignored Yishu and waved her hands at the spectating crowd. What are you looking at? It's already over. Go, go. The spectating crowd saw that Tangru didn't move, so they didn't either. Instead, they surrounded Yishu and asked, brother, what weapon is that? Only players that didn't play Glory wouldn't care. When this question was asked, even Chen Guo pricked her ears up. On one hand, she wanted to hear the answer, but on the other hand, she wanted to comfort Tangru. She was just too busy. Haha, it's nothing. It's just a thing I made myself, Yishu said. Self-made weapon? Someone reacted quickly. He immediately understood what the 4 words, I made it myself, meant and blurted it out in surprise. The crowd immediately went into an uproar. Self-made equipment, that was high-end content that normal players couldn't even dream of touching. Glory had operated for 10 years. The methods to self-making equipment that were published online were at best orange-level equipment. The truly legendary silver equipment that surpassed orange equipment could only be seen in the professional leagues. Why would these professional clubs give away methods to making these sort of silver equipment to the public? Brother, can we take a look at it? Someone asked Yishu. Sure, Yishu laughed and let everyone look at the myriad manifestation umbrella. While Chen Guo put her hands on Tangru's shoulder, she said, go go go, let's go up and rest a bit. At the same time, she couldn't help but stretch out her neck to see what exactly Yishu's Lord Grim held in his hands. Seeing this appearance, Tangru also couldn't help but laugh. If you want to go look, then go look. Chen Guo heard this and turned her head to look. Tangru wasn't depressed like she expected, so she immediately felt relieved. But she still brought Tangru upstairs and said with authority, Humph. I'll go look later. If he dares to not let me look, then I'll fire him. The surrounding crowd that looked at the myriad manifestation umbrella's attributes were all in awe. In addition, most of these players were playing in the new server, so they were very familiar with low-leveled weapons. With just a look, they could tell that this was a genuine silver weapon. The legendary orange weapon surpassing silver weapon. Amazing. How did you make it? Someone blurted it out. Yishu smiled but didn't speak, so no one continued to question him. Even the previous person who blurted it out felt a little bad. Which self-made equipment wasn't made with blood, sweat, and tears? Who would ask for him to just casually give out his blood? What a pity. It's only level 5, TL note, only the lance form is level 15. The other forms are still level 5. The server just started, that's all. If you start collecting materials now, can't you get it to level 70? Really? I heard that self-made equipment only looked at materials and not the materials levels. F***CK, you understand, huh? If you understand, go make one. I heard, that's just what I heard. The players commented one after another. Yishu only smiled at what he heard, but didn't join the discussion. Normal players only had a smattering of knowledge on this sort of high-end content and couldn't really get anywhere with it. But a legendary self-made silver weapon really did appear. This was already something everyone could talk about. However, all of the players didn't forget to add, it's a pity it's only level 5. Level 5 equipment. No matter how up it was, it still wouldn't have any value. Everyone understood the reasoning. Although most players knew that self-made equipment could be upgraded in the editor, upgrading was just as difficult as making. A small mistake could ruin the weapon. Level 5, the starting point was so low. The amount of upgrades it needed was too big. Everyone all subconsciously thought that instead of upgrading it, it'd be better to just directly make a high-leveled one. Brother, are you going to make any other professional level silver weapons? Someone knew how to ask the important questions. Compared to this silver weapon, the talent that could make such a silver weapon was of much more value. No more. This was something I just randomly threw together, Yishu said. Brother, if you're ever going to make anything, I'll give you the materials, just name a price. There was still someone who wouldn't give up on self-made equipment. Ordinarily, they all felt that it was something too out of reach. But today, someone who had one appeared. I really can't. If I could, would I be sitting here? Yishu said. The person, who had been unwilling to give it up, went silent. That was true. Someone who could make self-made equipment was definitely a more valuable talent than normal experts. They could close their door and get rich. They could also join a professional club's tech team. Brother, do you want a dungeon? Let's go together. At this moment, there were even people who invited Yishu to play. They were clearly also from the 10th server. I've already reached the entry limit, Yishu laughed. Let's play together when there's a chance. Okay. After paying their respects and saying kind words to try and make friends with him, the crowd gradually dispersed. Yishu let out a sigh. Truthfully, self-made weapons were too precious. They were supposed to be hidden from the outside. In Glory, players couldn't use the system to check on other people's equipment, so it was relatively good for hiding them. But the problem was that the myriad manifestation umbrella was too unusual. What game had this sort of transforming weapon? Players with a bit of common sense could figure out that it was self-made. And in an actual battle, the weapon's greatest value and features had to be displayed, so it wasn't possible to hide such a weapon. Yishu sighed. Right when he closed the equipment interface, he saw Chen Guo rush at him like lightning from the second floor. After running behind Yishu, she asked, "What weapon? What weapon?" Self-made weapon, see for yourself. Yishu helplessly opened it again. Wow, Chen Guo admired it. She was like every other player, with 100,000 questions to ask, but she also knew that it wasn't appropriate to ask these sorts of things. You're playing as an unspecialized character because of this weapon? Chen Guo asked. Smart, Yishu commended. You're too secretive. Chen Guo discovered that she needed to re-evaluate Yishu. This sort of person that had been kicked out of the professional circle was more profound than she had originally thought. Although she herself didn't know exactly how skilled the pros were. When have I ever hid secrets from you? Yishu asked in reply. Chapter 52, Picking a Class. By the time Chen Guo finished looking at the myriad manifestation umbrella, Tang Ru had already returned downstairs. Yishu and Chen Guo both looked at her without saying anything. How can you just leave your money there like that? Tang Ru walked to her original spot. She neatly folded the money on the table and handed it over to Yishu. Chen Guo sighed. This girl really did take things seriously. She wouldn't back out on her word. Chen Guo now hoped Yishu would hurry up and take the money and not let side issues keep popping up. Yishu didn't let her down. He stood up to take the money. Although this was clearly what Chen Guo wanted, after seeing Yishu get ready to take the money, Chen Guo immediately became angry. You have the nerve to take it, Chen Guo said. What's wrong? Yi Shu and Tang Ru both said. Chen Guo lost. After all, in the end, she wasn't a part of the bet. I'll win that money back sooner or later, Tang Ru said when she handed over the money to Yi Shu. I'll take responsibility and tell you. That's much harder than you think, Yi Shu laughed. After putting the money in his pocket, he logged out of the game. He said goodbye and then left. Doesn't this guy just make you angry? Chen Guo grinded her teeth towards Tang Ru. Relax, relax, Tang Ru, who was looked down upon, said pleasantly. Hurry up and practice. Afterwards, ruthlessly sort out this guy and put him in his place, Chen Guo said. How big of a difference do you think there is between me and him? Tang Ru asked Chen Guo. This, Chen Guo reddened a bit. Even if Tang Ru didn't know how to play, only Yi Shu dared to say this. In Chen Guo's eyes, Tang Ru was already considered an expert. Tang Ru was better than her. Yi Shu even more so. Both of these players were better than her, so how could she see how skilled they were? To say nothing of the difference in their skill levels. If she could tell the difference in their skills, then she wouldn't have needed to randomly test for Yi Shu and Tang Ru to PK. I really can't tell, Chen Guo could only admit this. Tang Ru lowered her head to look at Chasing Haze, who hadn't yet logged out. After a while, she said, it looks like he's right. I can't even tell how far apart we are. I have to take a comprehensive course. Chen Guo was secretly delighted in her heart. This Tang Ru was finally interested in playing Glory. But she didn't show it in her face and said with a deadpan look, luckily, the new server opened yesterday. I'll go and get you an account card. Okay, Tang Ru obediently let Chen Guo be bursting with joy. When she opened the internet cafe, she obviously had Glory account cards ready. She promptly took a card and helped her create a character. After choosing a name, she entered the game. The beginner village quests couldn't be any easier. If this was an ordinary day, Tang Ru would have already thrown aside this sort of easy task after half a minute at best. But today, she was unexpectedly serious. She even read parts of the beginner guidebook that even Chen Guo felt unnecessary. This girl finally used her seriousness for glory. Chen Guo felt a type of good feeling after obtaining such a positive outcome after so much effort. She was itching to start discussing a very important issue with Tang Ru. What class do you want to play? I still haven't thought about it, Tang Ru said. There's no need to be in a hurry. Before level 20, you can learn any skill from any class. You can try them all and see which class you find the most suitable, Chen Guo said. If you keep leveling and simply don't change classes, then you'll be an unspecialized character like Yi Shu, right? Tang Ru asked. He's recklessly playing. Don't learn from him, Chen Guo jumped in fright. Reckless playing? Tang Ru didn't understand. After a character reaches level 50, they need to complete a class awakening quest in order to continue gaining experience and leveling up. But unspecialized characters don't have a class awakening quest, so when they get to level 50, they have no way of leveling. This was the reason why the unspecialized playing style disappeared, Chen Guo explained. Didn't Yi Shu say a moment ago that he could continue leveling when he got into the heavenly domain at level 50? Tang Ru said. Please. It's the heavenly domain. That dueling quest that you did for me was so difficult. How could a level 50 do it? Chen Guo said. Then Yi Shu, he's crazy, Chen Guo interrupted Tang Ru. If he can do it and I can't, won't that mean he's better than me? Tang Ru said. Chen Guo was startled for a second and then immediately said, if he can do it, you can also try it. Anyone can start the heavenly domain skill challenges at level 50. There's no restriction for this. And more, Chen Guo followed. Do you remember Yi Shu's weapon? That's the reason he chose to play as an unspecialized. That guy actually has a self-made weapon. The server just opened for 2 days. I don't know he got it. The more Chen Guo said, the more she doubted herself. This was one of the many questions she had, but she was too embarrassed to directly ask him. Self-made weapon? The extremely strong equipment that you said only professional players had, Tang Ru asked. These questions thoroughly exposed that she was a true newbie in glory. Right. Moreover, it's extremely powerful. Although it's only level 5, it's a silver equipment that superses orange equipment. It looks to me that this guy has the means to continue upgrading this silver weapon. Otherwise, there's no way he'd play unspecialized just for this level 5 silver weapon, Chen Guo said. How do you make a silver weapon? Tang Ru asked. Sister, your questions are too high-end. That's what I want to know, Chen Guo said. It would be better if you just became a launcher like me. You've also played my account card many times. You're most familiar with this class, so you'll definitely learn it quickly. Chen Guo didn't want to talk about self-made equipment with Tang Ru for too long. She was afraid that after describing the difficulty of self-making, she would excite Tang Ru into this direction instead of the game. That would be bad. Self-made equipment were truly too complicated. So many people had challenged it, but in the end, they all died doing so. Chen Guo didn't want Tang Ru to waste her energy doing this sort of task. Launcher. Tang Ru refused to comment. Although she didn't have much interest in Glory before, she did play it ever so often. In her heart, she really wasn't too interested in the launcher class. She was more interested in those close combat classes. She felt that these classes required more skill. But Chen Guo was very fond of the launcher class. Tang Ru didn't want to just splash cold water on her. Right when she was thinking, she suddenly remembered the other class Chen Guo often talked about. Right, that one you often talked about. The one you said was the strongest. That's something God? What class was that? Battle God 1 Autumn Leaf, Chen Guo blurted out. After saying this, her expression dimmed. Chapter 53, Battle Mage. Right, that one. What class is that Battle God? Although Tang Ru couldn't even remember the famed name, Battle God 1 Autumn Leaf, Chen Guo's constant reminders left an imprint in her heart. Besides this, the only other one that left an even bigger imprint was the launcher, Dancing Rain, directly because Chen Guo also played launcher. She was Chen Guo's #1 idol and the character Chen Guo talked the most about. While Tang Ru said this, she looked towards Chen Guo and immediately saw Chen Guo's face dim. What's wrong? Tang Ru jumped in fright. She knew Chen Guo for 2 years. Angry Chen Guo was a common occurrence, but sad Chen Guo was a first. Yi Chu, retired, Chen Guo said. Yi Chu? You mean 1 Autumn Leaf's owner, Tang Ru said. Yeah. Then 1 Autumn Leaf. 1 Autumn Leaf is still there, but Chen Guo couldn't clearly describe her concerns. In the Ice-Cold Professional Alliance, characters and athletes were divided into 2 categories. For players that liked glory, some people admired those powerful characters, while others admired the athlete's excellent technique. As a result, for titles like Battle God, there were some that believed the title should be given to the character 1 Autumn Leaf, while some believed that it should be given to Yi Chu, the athlete operating 1 Autumn Leaf. And in the middle, there were those in dispute. But gradually, similar disputes all gradually gave the title to the character. This was because the character was the Iron Army camp, while the athlete was just one of the numerous soldiers. Athletes would transfer clubs. Athletes would deteriorate and go past their prime. Athletes would eventually retire. But the character never would. As long as the club wanted to, the character could firmly stay in their hands and continue to be upgraded. The older it was, the more skill points it could have and the better the equipment. Currently, most of the world-shaking characters in Glory were all created in the first server and had already existed for nearly 10 years. Their operators had already changed who knew how many times, but their fame never fell. A flower may blossom again, but a person can never turn young again. As long as a strong character had a strong athlete controlling it, then its strength would be revealed. But the athlete. By natural law, no one could defeat the merciless killer that was time. Yi Chu and 1 Autumn Leaf were a rare exception. Both the character and the operator had been together for 10 years, which was rarely seen in the alliance. Other characters experienced changes in their operators. Each and every one of those athletes disappeared behind the scenes, leaving behind their famed characters. But the title Battle God had been shared with Yi Chu and 1 Autumn Leaf the entire time. From when this title was given, Battle God had always belonged to the both of them. Unfortunately, One Autumn Leaf was also a character, while Yi Chu was merely an athlete. Athletes were destined to be the first to leave, while the character's fame would continue to be carried on. While other characters had already been handed over multiple times, it was only the first time for the Battle God. As a result, a large handful of players bitterly wept and, like Chen Guo, would sadden at the mention of the Battle God One Autumn Leaf. As for her, once Yi Chu left, the Battle God title was no longer intact. A lot of hopeful feelings that she had were suddenly ripped apart just like this. Tang Ru didn't understand Chen Guo's grief. She could only quietly sit there accompanying her and hold her hand without saying a word. But all in all, Chen Guo was Chen Guo. She had already grieved yesterday. Being distressed over and over wasn't her style. After a while, her spirit had already lifted and she spoke towards Tang Ru. The Battle God's class was Battle Mage. What, do you want to play that? Okay, I might one day become that One Autumn Leaf's owner. When that time comes, wouldn't I be the new Battle God? Tang Ru said. Ah, this goal is 1,000 times better than beating that whatever Yi Shu. Little Tang, you have to try hard and reach this goal. Chen Guo smiled. Okay, Tang Ru also smiled and then nodded her head. Then do you want me to teach you about the Battle Mage right now? Chen Guo said. Yeah, Tang Ru nodded her head. The Battle Mage belongs to the Mage class. They use magic to strengthen themselves and battle in close combat. They are proficient in 2 weapons, poles and battle lances. Poles usually have an attack speed of 8, extremely quick. Battle lances usually have an attack speed of 2, fairly slow, but their damage and range are high. I personally like battle lance because they're more tyrannical. If it wasn't tyrannical, how could it be called Battle God? See, One Autumn Leaf also uses a battle lance. One time. Quote. Guo Guo, Tang Ru reminded Chen Guo that she was going off topic. Oh, Chen Guo coughed and continued explaining, the Battle Mage's main features is that they can buff their own attributes using magic. After awakening, they also have Battle Spirit. Battle Spirit is a passive skill that completely relies on the operator's skill. If you see that the Battle Mage gets stronger as he fights, don't be surprised. One Autumn Leaf was considered a Battle God because Yi Chu's skill could. Guo Guo, Tang Ru was already helpless. Okay, let's look at a video. While you look, I'll explain, okay? Chen Guo said. Okay, Tang Ru nodded her head. Chen Guo didn't even need to look up videos on the internet. How could she be short of Battle God videos? She didn't know how many she had collected. After choosing one, she delightedly gave it to Tang Ru and explained it. After explaining it for a bit, the only words she said were gasps of surprise. Wow, look, this time. Whoa. An 88 combo. Do you know how much Battle Spirit will buff his attributes? Ha, this stupid guy. He walked into the knock-up. Guo, Tang Ru helplessly said for the 3rd time. Don't you feel that I should look at more beginner-leveled videos? You want me to just start by learning from the greatest expert among battle mages? Tang Ru powerlessly said. Oh, so it's like this. Then let me look for a bit. The 2 girls immersed themselves in learning about the battle mage in this way, until an employee ran over to tell them that it was time to eat. The employee was impatiently driven away by Chen Guo. Only until a voice, which had irritated Chen Guo every time she heard it, came. Oh? You're learning about the battle mage? Yi Shu. Chen Guo immediately turned her head. What do you want? Do you mind? Little Tang wants to play as a battle mage? Yi Shu asked. Yeah, Tang Ru nodded her head. I can teach you then, Yi Shu said. Humph. No need, Chen Guo expressed her disdain. Boss, do you know what you just refused? Yi Shu said seriously. Chen Guo completely ignored him and turned her head to Tang Ru. These are all battle mage guides written by Yi Chu. Look, I've already ordered them for you. From shallow to deep, from attributes to skills to equipment, real combat skills, experience, technique, practice methods, and even a few collection of the best videos. Okay, Tang Ru nodded her head. Really? You don't want the actual person to teach? Do you really want to teach yourself? Yi Shu mumbled. You go somewhere else. Can your teaching even compare to 0.1% of these guides? Chen Guo said. Sigh, you'd better not regret it, Yi Shu sighed. So noisy, Chen Guo's head didn't even turn. But Tang Ru turned and smiled towards Yi Shu. If I have any questions, I'll come ask you. Ha ha, you'll come across one soon. That guide you're looking at is from 9 years ago. There have been many changes in the game within those 9 years. Although you can still look at this guide, there are 4 places you have to pay attention to. The things mentioned there aren't suitable at all for the current battle mage, Yi Shu said. Chapter 54, Show Me. Tang Ru was still a newbie in this area, so she obviously didn't understand the situation. And Chen Guo? She played launcher. Although she had watched many Wonderful's videos on battle mages, she never truly researched the class. She had browsed the internet and clicked on guides just this afternoon. Chen Guo was recklessly relying on a hopelessly optimistic gamble. Her search words were battle mage and the author, Yi Chu or One Autumn Leaf. Seeing a match, she picked the guide without thinking too much about it and arranged them for Tang Ru in volumes. But they had only started on the first page and Yi Shu already criticized it, saying that this guide was out of date in some places. Now that he mentioned it, it really had been 9 years. Who knew how many times glory had been tweaked, which class hadn't experienced changes? If there hadn't been a single change in 9 years, wouldn't that mean the players hadn't improved in that time? If it really was like this, then the game glory wouldn't be so popular. The game also had time to grow. Are you saying the truth? Chen Guo asked Yi Shu. Yup. Then which 4 places? Tang Ru asked. Why don't you two go eat dinner? I'll revise the guide for you, Yi Shu said. Of these 2 people, one of them was engrossed in the game, while the other made a firm resolution to get engrossed in the game. They had researched the battle mage together and didn't think to eat. Once they heard Yi Shu say this, they both felt a little hungry. Then we'll head to dinner first, Chen Guo asked for Tang Ru's opinion. Okay, sorry to trouble you. The latter half of Tang Ru's response was directed towards Yi Shu. Go, go, Yi Shu drove away the 2 of them. Not long after sitting down, he heard Chen Guo's cry of surprise. Why is today's dinner so luxurious? Who ordered it? Once she heard everyone say that it was Brother Yi, Chen Guo disdained him even more and said to Tang Ru, he really knows how to take advantage of other people. Ha ha, Tang Ru laughed. You too. After losing so many times, you don't feel bad. Chen Guo saw that Tang Ru didn't take the 1,100 yuan she lost seriously at all. Although she had worked 2 years as a long-time employee at the internet cafe, Chen Guo had deliberately raised her salary. But Tang Ru really didn't do anything too different from other employees. In the internet cafe, how many things could a sister do? She could really only keep watch at the reception desk. As a result, her salary couldn't actually be raised by that much. 1,100 yuan couldn't be a small amount for Tang Ru, but Tang Ru didn't seem to mind. Her temper was the complete opposite of this boss Chen Guo's. With the popularity of Chen Guo's internet cafe, at worst, she could guarantee a net income of 1 to 200,000 a month. 1,000 yuan wasn't much for her. But it also hadn't been easy for Chen Guo to have the internet cafe develop to its current level. In addition, with a steady flow of customers, she didn't really have any habit of wastefully spending money. Even for Chen Guo, losing 1,000 yuan in a few casual bouts of PK made her heart ache for Tang Ru. Of course, Tang Ru said. You've lost all your money. What are you going to eat this month? Chen Guo said. Aren't you in charge of food? Tang Ru smiled. Chen Guo was helpless. Her guarantee that the internet cafe took care of food and shelter raised a bunch of people who spent their income before they earned their next salary. Hurry up and eat. After eating, let's see what new trick that guy's come up with, Chen Guo said. Meanwhile, Yi Shu quickly revised the outdated parts. Afterwards, he looked at the materials Chen Guo arranged for Tang Ru. He saw that Miss High and Mighty Chen Guo's trademark awareness was extremely strong. She had picked everything that had Yichu or one autumn leaf on it. Seeing this, Yishu really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He cleaned up anything unnecessary, repeated, and outdated. He added in anything missing, deleted anything that could be deleted, fixed anything that could be fixed, and elaborated on anything that could be elaborated on. While busily working in this abyss of suffering, Chen Guo and Tang Ru finished eating and returned. Chen Guo glanced and saw that Yishu only glimpsed at the guide she had looked hard for, and then threw it in the trash. She immediately rushed up to ask, "What are you doing?" "There's a bunch of useless repeated things in that messy pile of yours." "I'm helping you tidy it up," Yishu said. "Really?" Chen Guo was skeptical. Although Yishu always made her pissed, Chen Guo recognized his skill and glory. This Yishu really was better than her by a lot. "Are you sure? These are all posts written by the god Yichu, Chen Guo." "I'm sure. How could I not be? If he knew, he would also be very thankful for having the opportunity to let me tidy it up," Yishu said. "No good. Let me check that guide you threw into the trash," Chen Guo said. "If you can understand it, then go ahead," Yishu laughed. Chen Guo turned gloomy. Truthfully, she had never played Battle Mage. She only had a bit of knowledge on the mid-game and late-game content in those guides. When she reached this content, Tang Ru had to figure it out on her own. But seeing Yishu's very professional look, Chen Guo couldn't help but say, "Can you really teach?" "I can." "You know everything about battle mages?" "I do." "You're not afraid that little Tang's going to beat you after teaching her?" "Ha ha ha ha," Yishu laughed. "How could it be that easy? The master leads the way, but it depends on you yourself to learn. Have you heard of this before? The theories are all the same, but whether or not you can learn it depends on you yourself. Even if I don't teach, the guides are public. If you spend the time, you can definitely learn it. My teaching will only save you some time." "What you say is clear and logical. Then let me ask you, if you want to increase hand speed, what should you do?" Chen Guo asked. "Absolute hand speed or effective hand speed?" Yishu asked. "Obviously effective hand speed," Chen Guo said. Absolute hand speed was just how fast you could hit the keyboard and click the mouse with your eyes closed. If you couldn't use it in an actual battle, then it doesn't matter how fast you were. As a result, effective hand speed was more important. It was the APM after getting rid of all of the useless actions. Yishu groped around his pockets. He took out something and gave it to Chen Guo. "Take it and play." "What is it?" Chen Guo took it and looked. It was a palm-sized plastic board. On top were 3 rows with a total of 10 mouse heads. It was a mini whack-a-mole. Chen Guo turned so furious, her nose almost went crooked. What type of trick was this? In the end, she heard Yishu turn his head and say, "Try it." "Try what?" "The power switch is on the bottom. You can change the level. Turn it to the lowest level and try. I've modified it. I promise you'll love it," Yishu said. Chen Guo was skeptical. She turned on the toy and the 10 mouse heads flashed. An electronic beep sounded out, which let Chen Guo set the levels using the mouse heads. Chen Guo pressed on the first head. After a small electronic tune played, the mouse heads began to flash. Chen Guo had played this type of mini whack-a-mole games before. She had to press whichever mouse head lit up. But the toy Yishu gave her was much faster than what Chen Guo had expected. She hurriedly chased after the flashing lights and wildly pressed. Not even 10 seconds had passed, when the mouse heads all flashed. They made a few sounds as if laughing at her, and then announced the end of the game. 120 APM, Yishu laughed. Chen Guo was baffled. People with an APM of 120 can barely go over 5 seconds. Go play with it. It'll help your reaction speed, Yishu said. If your playing speed won't increase, then it's mainly because you can't react in time. Chapter 55, Surpassing the Guide. "Little Tang, do you want to try?" Chen Guo handed the mini whack-a-mole to Tang Ru. "She doesn't need it. This won't help her much. Her effective hand speed is probably around 200, but she's not familiar with the game. Without experience, her ability to judge is lacking, restricting her reaction speed. She still has space to improve, but she can only slowly grind it out in the game," Yishu said. Then, what about you? How fast is your playing hand speed? Chen Guo said. Me? I've already passed the increasing my hand speed stage. My 60 APM is more than enough to beat you, Yishu said. Chen Guo suddenly thought of her first time seeing Yishu's disabled level hand speed. Yet he was able to solo the Midnight Phantom Cat only relying on this hand speed. At the time, Chen Guo felt quite mystified. Now hearing that Yishu could destroy her with 60 APM, Chen Guo wasn't mad at all. She had already felt that Yishu wasn't as simple as he seemed. Freely switching hand speeds. This was the biggest difference between professional and normal players. How much longer do you need for this? Chen Guo asked Yishu about tidying up the guides. Still a bit longer. The guides Yishu made didn't cover everything. There are guides by others that are quite good too. In a bit, I'll help add them in. Actually, looking at the guides first without touching the game yet isn't good. It's best to experience the game first and have a certain amount of basics before looking at a guide, Yishu said. Why? Wouldn't following a guide help you do less wrong things? Chen Guo said. The guide is only a summary of the author's experiences. The content inside only represents the person's experiences at that time. After a year or two has passed or even a few months, someone will discover a better way than what the guide says. This isn't only because of game changes, but also because the player's skill levels are constantly increasing. Clear records only exist to be broken. The peak will always lie in the future. Guides are only references and shouldn't be blindly consulted. Otherwise, you'll never break through to the next step. Hearing this, Chen Guo could only stare blankly. She didn't want to believe that this reasoning had just come from that damn sloppy mouth. This reasoning ignored the god Yichu that Chen Guo worshipped. If they were on an even level, then Chen Guo would definitely strangle the guy. But at this moment, she felt as if she didn't have any energy. Then, I'll play first. In the end, Tangru replied. She sat at the computer station next to Yishu and inserted her account card. Yishu nodded his head and turned his head towards Chen Guo. I'm going to play whack-a-mole? In this instant, Chen Guo couldn't help but feel a little skeptical on whether she was being toyed with. Playing whack-a-mole will only help improve your reaction speed. To actually increase your effective hand speed, you have to practice in-game, Yishu said. Okay, Chen Guo nodded her head. Okay, see you later, Yishu said. Yeah, Chen Guo agreed. She turned around and left. After walking a few steps, she finally reacted. What's with this guy's attitude? Who was the boss? Thinking of this, she turned her head to look. However, she saw that Yishu looked so serious working on the guides. He didn't have any of that half-dead look. Chen Guo froze, stumped for words. She unexpectedly felt too embarrassed to disturb him. Looking again at Tangru, she saw that Tangru was concentrated on the game. After looking at the whack-a-mole in her hands for a while, she silently walked away. Little Tang had talent. Yishu was already extremely strong. But her. Chen Guo sat at the reception desk in a daze. She herself really liked this game and also hoped to get good at the game, but Chen Guo knew that it wasn't possible for her to break through to the next step. 27 years old. In terms of esports, this was already a time to recall memories of the past, instead of looking towards the future. Tangru smugly entered the game, but after a short while, she had already suffered from setbacks. Her 200 APM couldn't solve this problem. Yishu had also encountered the problem. And Chen Guo did too the other night playing on her low-leveled account. The problem of too many people in the beginner area. She received quests with great difficulty and took forever to kill a monster. With so many people in the beginner village, no matter how fast your reaction or hand speed was, you would always fail to kill a monster. Tangru was tossed from side to side and beaten black and blue, but persevered on. After half an hour, she finally leveled up from level 1 to level 2. Tang Rout let out a sigh and looked towards Yishu. He was still tidying up the guides and was still focused as before. His concentration made even Tangru feel amazed. Right when she was looking, she saw the focused Yishu put his left hand into his pocket and take out a cigarette box. He shook twice and the cigarette jumped into his mouth. Throughout the entire process, his eyes hadn't shifted away from the screen at all. His right hand moved the mouse back and forth without ever stopping either. Just when he was about to light up the cigarette, he was suddenly poked. He turned around and saw Tang Ru. "You can't smoke here. Guo Guo will get angry," Tang Ru warned Yi Shu. Oh, Yi Shu's smoking was a subconscious movement, he didn't need to think about it. After Tang Ru's warning, he discovered that he somehow had a cigarette in his mouth. Their seating was in the corner, however, and was fairly far from the reception desk. Besides Tang Ru and him, there was no one else there. "She can't see it, so I'll smoke one cigarette." "Don't tell her." Yi Shu still sneakily lit up his cigarette. In the end, he even turned around and politely asked, "Do you want one?" "No thanks." "Have you smoked before?" "I've tried, but I didn't like it," Tang Ru said. Oh, Yi Shu nodded his head. He extended his head out and looked at Tang Ru's screen. "What level?" "Level 2, Tang Ru said. Go Tang Ru. "This Lord Grimm is you, right?" Tang Ru suddenly asked. Yi Shu looked towards the 10th server's dungeon records on Tang Ru's screen. Lord Grimm's great name hung on 4 of the lists. "You're already planning on breaking my record?" Yi Shu grinned. "I can't for first clears, right?" Tang Ru said. "Yeah," Yi Shu nodded his head. As a result, Tang Ru's gaze fell on Frost Forest's clear record. "This record can't be broken on your own," Yi Shu said. "I still need 4 others to cooperate, right?" Tang Ru said. "Later on, there will even be 10 player ones, 20 player ones, and even more," Yi Shu said. Tang Ru was silent. He didn't know what she was thinking. "I've finished this guide. Where should I put it?" With the help of the cigarette, Yi Shu finished tidying the guide. "The desktop is fine, but you can do it this way." Tang Ru went over to show him. Internet cafe computers all automatically rebooted, but employees could use an admin account to avoid this. Even in these few simple movements, Tang Ru's nimbleness could be seen. "How did you practice your hand speed?" Yi Shu suddenly asked. Hearing this, Tang Ru's movement stopped for a bit. Yi Shu's keen eye saw this minute change. "I never practiced it. I was just born like this," Tang Ru said. "Really?" Yi Shu smiled and didn't say anything more. He stood up from his seat and gave it to Tang Ru. "You continue here. If you have any questions on the game or the guide, just come ask me," Yi Shu said. "Thanks. And you?" Tang Ru saw that Yi Shu was about to leave. "I'm going to the smoking area. That place is a bit safer," Yi Shu said.